Welcome to another edition of The Story Behind the Car, and we're with Barclay, and we're over at his, well, I was about to say production line, but they're not lined up right now, but they are side by side, and what an operation you have here.
Yeah, well, it's a hobby. It's a hobby that costs a lot of money and a lot of time, but we're having fun. That's really in life. If you can find something you love to do, and you have a lot of passion with it, then you're doing good. And that's what these cars are right now for us. We're having a lot of fun.
And what do we have here?
This car was born to Belvedere, 1958 Plymouth Belvedere.
Okay.
We actually bought this car on eBay, believe it or not, but it was the Buckskin Beige color, and it had gold inserts on it. So what we wanted to do with this one is the Buckskin Beige paint was in decent shape, and that's the original Fury color. And this car also has Fury interior in it, so we didn't want to change the interior, so we decided to do a high-end 3M type style vinyl wrap that I'll kind of walk you through. So we just got this back last night from Shamrock Vinyl Wrap in St. Louis, and it really turned out great. I mean, it went from a buckskin beige color to a bright red, as you see. And you could kind of see when you look at the wrap here how bright this is. That is a real bright colored Christine by itself.
Yes.
So when you park the wrap next to it, it makes that paint look dull. That's one thing I could say that a wrap will beat you.
Yeah. And out of curiosity, if you were to do that one again, would you do it as a wrap or would you?
Well, that one is a six-figure car, so that one would definitely need to be paint.
Yes.
But you just can't get paint really as bright as a wrap.
Yeah.
So, a wrap, this is, a third of the money as paint.
Yeah, and you can always go back if you don't like it.
Yeah, you could wrap this thing 4 times for what it would cost you for paint.
Yeah.
And a wrap, the life on a wrap, if it's outside in your driving light, is 7 to 8 years. If you're in a garage like this, the wrap could last 10, 15 years.
Wow.
It's just something that makes sense to do on some cars, and it makes sense to do not on others. And if you're looking for a red color, it's nice because you could peel all this wrap off and you got the original Buckskin Beige color if you like that look.
Yeah.
In my opinion, not many people want the original Buckskin Beige color. The guys that like that stuff are they're 70 and 80 years old and they're kind of getting out of cars. And all the guys in the market today all want red Christines because they're younger. The movie was, reborn the car in 1983, and a lot of the people that are in their 50s watched that car as a kid, and they want something that they can identify with, kind of like the Dukes of Hazzard.
Yeah.
Everybody wants that orange General Lee. So Christine car is the same thing.
I guess it was maybe not last summer, the summer before is when I first met you, I believe it was. Well, I didn't meet you. You had a buckskin at a car show, and you had your Camaro next to it. I didn't know you owned both of them. The Camaro was running, had the engine sticking out of the hood, and I was with my wife, and I said, man, I want to shoot that Plymouth, but that Camaro's there and making so much noise, I'll never be able to shoot it.
That was funny. Well, you should have just said something, how to turn that noisy Camaro off.
Well, you were moving around. You were. It was a show, I believe you
that was for the foundation that we have for our youngest daughter called the Snow Foundation. She's got a rare disease, and we always raise money for the disease, and that's what my wife does for a living is... I work on cars as a hobby, and she's running a foundation for a disease called Wolfram syndrome, and our daughter's life and her future depends on us finding a cure. So she's full-time job is working on that.
Yeah.
So we've been doing that for about 13 years, and making some progress.
Wonderful. And I'll put a link below in the video in case people want to read up more.
It's called the Snow Foundation.
Okay, wonderful.
Well, let me give you an overview of this car. So this is a loaded Belvedere that has a Fury interior in it, basically. Let's start up here. So let me explain the wrap. So the wrap is all over the car, but this thing also has Buckskin Beige. So what we call this car is a Christine wrap that's kind of taking over the car. It's kind of bleeding into the area. So with the wrap, what do you do where the Buckskin Beige stops? Or where the wrap stops and the original color, like all the engine base. So let me show you what we did here. If you want to come around here.
Yeah.
So when you open this up and you look, so if you look right down through here. So here's the original Buckskin Beige color.
Yes.
And then here's where the wrap is kind of like bleeding in, like it's taking over the car. And that kind of gives you a theme that you can leave the original colored firewall alone, because you can't really get the wrap down around all that. And it's just, not practical, and, would never stay on there with the heat and everything. So this is just kind of what we do. an item to make it, look finished. We just kind of take it and, see how stuff like this and what have you.
Yeah.
You know how it just comes and it's cut out.
Yeah, and Christine is just overpowering it.
Yes. So one thing good about this Belvedere, this is, I believe, the original engine, and this was a loaded one. When I say loaded, it's power brakes, power steering. And here's the power brake that you see in the movie with the billows style power booster,
Yes.
the air tank. And then this also has the dual carbs. And this is kind of what everybody likes for the movie Christine. Also has power steering, where those two Savoys, the green one and that brown one, do not have power brakes or power steering. So it's a big improvement on these cars to have power steering, power brakes.
Yeah, and the big cars. And
yes, and this one still has the alternator, or the generator on it, I should say, right here. It's not an alternator. But this is a stock engine. This starts up real well and drives, and it's really a nice car.
And it's beautiful with the dual carbs.
And the metalwork on this car is really nice. I mean, it doesn't need to be restored. It's not as high end as, say, my good Christine car, but it's still relatively nice. The fender spears are all good. This is an older restoration that was probably 10, 12 years old. And the paint probably could have used a little freshening up on it, but rather than repaint it, we decided to, wrap it,
Yes.
give it that look. Because we want to show the interior, which is a really sought-after interior. So this interior in this car, I'll open this up.
I just love the handles on these too.
I'll roll this, yeah.
The way they operate.
Like a refrigerator handle.
Yeah.
So if you look inside this car, kind of get a shot. Here's the jams.
Okay.
You can see how it's kind of bleeding in.
Yeah.
We could have wrapped the whole jam, but it gets a little more technical up in here, and so we just decided to do the bleed-in thing and leave a lot of the jams. But this is a really, really nice factory interior in here, factory Fury. Somebody had access to a original Fury style interior, or found the old fabric and redid it. So this is a really, really nice interior. This is as nice as my Christine car for a Fury, style. The original headliners in the car. There's the horn. All that works. This is, I believe, an original Fury steering wheel. The dash in the car is brown. It's probably the wrong color brown for a Fury. I don't know who painted that color, but it's a little bit off shade-wise. So all this interior was restored, but this matches almost the original Fury Buckskin Beige interior. I mean, it's a really nice interior in this car. It's really not worth taking this out and converting it red. So the brown and the red kind of goes together. I think I've seen a lot of these cars painted red where they just leave the original Fury style interior. But this car came as a Belvedere. It wasn't a Fury. It was a Belvedere from the factory.
Okay. And what I really liked about the late 50s, early 60s Chrysler was the driver's seat was higher, rose up, I guess.
Yeah, so in the Fury, this is a dip seat here, so they call that the Fury dip. That was in the movie Christine.
Oh, was it really?
So if you look at the back seat, they got dips in them, and the front seat has a dip. When you look at this car, look at this seat. This is a Belvedere, and a Savoy doesn't have the dip.
Okay.
But in the movie, they all had the dips, so that was one thing that the producer, I guess, picked out. They liked the dip seats.
Yes.
And then if you look hard in here, that's the original Fury dash. You can peek in there and jump in there if you want to. But there's the 150 mile an hour speedometer that's in the car.
Oh, yeah.
And then here's the push button transmission.
Yeah.
Kind of see everything in there. There's no park on the transmission. This is what this is. There's a park and brake.
I did a 65 Plymouth, and that was the first year they didn't have the push button. But he told me, the owner told me the cables were all set up for push button. Man, this is nice.
Yeah, it is. It's really a really nice interior. It's just, not a lot of people like this buckskin beige color. I know a lot of guys say, oh, it's a great looking color, but go try to sell a car buckskin beige.
Yeah.
There's no buyers.
And that's what really drew me when I saw the buckskin beige. I was like, oh my gosh.
You like it, but it just doesn't sell.
Yeah.
There's just the market for those cars are guys that are in their 70s and 80s. Or you're a rare guy that likes, the original stuff, but, everybody wants red.
So I see H, And W, I'm assuming this is a washer for the
Wipers and
wipers?
headlights.
Oh, headlights. Okay.
Yep. Then you got a fan button and everything else over there.
Yeah.
But this car is a really nice car. It's this car for a car that, you know, what this car will sell for in the 60s is super nice. I mean, this car, the underneath of the car doesn't have any rust. The body's in really, really good shape.
Boy, that door panel, and that's
Really
a Fury
nice.
swoop.
Yep, this is all original Fury style. I think these were all restored. I don't think this is original Fury because they're so nice, but this is original Fury stainless. This is the original Fury, you know, armrest and everything else that's in there. This is all original Fury, or somebody had it all re-chromed, but it's really, really nice interior in this car.
Yes.
Somebody spent probably about 15 grand on interior work inside this car at one point.
I'm gonna get the VIN plate.
Yep. It's a Belvedere.
And where were they made?
You know, I'm not an expert on that. I think there's several plants. One in L.A., one in Indiana, and one in Detroit. But they were made in the United States. I know that.
Yeah.
How about that? So
Yep.
my answer is correct.
Yes.
But these actually are these inserts actually came off our Christine 2.0 car. They're really nice inserts, but they weren't brand new. So we wanted to put a new set of inserts on that one, and we repurposed those and put them on this one. These are actually custom-made Evol Fury emblems that are double-stick tape on there. So if somebody wanted to take this emblem off, there's not holes in there like the factory ones.
Okay, yeah.
So these are aluminum emblems that we made here in St. Louis.
Okay.
And then this has really nice dual antennas. Probably the nicest set of dual antennas in the garage that it came on. These are almost in mint condition, and they're functionable as well.
No pitting whatsoever.
No, really nice. And then the trunk in here is really clean too.
And it's got the Plymouth script on the...
Yep. I mean, that is as good as a trunk gets.
Yeah.
I just got to put all this stuff back in there, and this goes over here. It's a cardboard. This is what they use, cardboard trunk kits.
Yeah.
This goes over here to cover all this up, but you can kind of see all the metal's in phenomenal shape. Just put that back there, but it's all undercoated and all protected, and you know, whoever did the restoration on this a while back did a phenomenal job.
Yeah. And whoever buys it from you is going to get a very
Yeah,
nice
I mean,
car.
buy a car that's like this, if you want to paint it or do anything, you're way money ahead than starting with a rust bucket. I promise you.
And there's the Plymouth
There's
script.
the Plymouth, yeah.
Yeah.
Just to get a set of these is about $500 to $600 just for a set of those letters. That's how expensive they are, because everybody wants them for Christine.
Yeah. And there's your...
Yeah, we put
Evol.
that decal on every car.
Yeah.
And this is a wrap, so just to kind of give you an idea, most all these are single pieces, but there's 3 pieces here. If you look hard, there's a seam there.
Okay.
There's a seam right here on both sides, and then everything else is full pieces. So those are really the only seams on the entire car, and you didn't see that seam, and that's how good those wrap guys are.
And it just came back last night. You were saying once the weather warms up, you get it out in the sun, it's going to...
Yeah, we want to take this thing and take it out in the sun, and it just kind of like, I don't know what the professional term is, but it just kind of bakes the car, and all the wrap takes its shape, and it bonds to everything.
Yeah.
It was kind of cold and rainy, and you know, it just needs that sun to just kind of...
Yes.
To let it lay real nice, and you know, only the other thing we got to do is we got to use some good adhesive to basically attach these roof rails on here. They're just a little bit loose. They make stainless clips, but they just don't work the best.
Yeah.
So it always makes me nervous with the clips without any adhesive behind them, so they doesn't come off. These are expensive pieces if something would blow off.
And we shot this a little bit ago, and you said this. You're going to put this back on, so that's the trim.
That trim's all sitting up there. So
Okay.
we're going to wrap it first and then put all the trim on afterwards versus try to put it on and take it back off. It's easy to put on. It's not hard at all.
Yes.
And then this car actually has really nice radial tires. So these are radial tires, where a lot of these cars are bias ply.
Yeah, which I remember as a kid, my dad had bias ply. You'd hit the crack in the highway and
You'd feel
change
it.
lanes.
Goes all over the place.
Yeah.
And then trying to think of anything else. Like I said, the fender spears, the metal is all decent and really nice in this car. I mean,
man, oh man, it is beautiful.
yeah. It's really a nice car. It's just what hurt it originally when it was for sale is just the color. It's that buckskin beige color that, you know, everybody says that they love the color, but there's just not many people that want to buy it.
Yeah. And you've told me before that you, when it's a Christine, well, your first Christine, you sold it to a woman by the name of Christine, did you not?
The first one we wrapped, that was a Fury.
Okay.
And then I originally sold my my first car was a buckskin, the one you sold. It went to California.
Okay.
So it's out there in California.
Okay.
But I just talked to the owner, and he wants a red one. So that the original one that we bought from my great friend Lee might be coming back to Missouri.
Yeah.
So
he wants to sell the buckskin and then get a red one?
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
He wants a red one.
Are you going to do the red one for him?
I don't know yet. We haven't figured that out yet.
Okay.
Most likely, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want the first one back. It was such a nice car. It was Lee's a great friend of mine. I talk to him all the time, and would love to get that car back, because now that I know a lot about these cars, that car is one of the best around. He owned the car for 35 years, and it's got a fuel-injected 451 big block in it, a stroker engine. He had his sway bars. He added all kinds of stuff to the car. It's as nice a car as this one if it's painted red.
Yeah.
So obviously, if I buy it back, which most likely will, it's going to get painted red.
Yeah.
Now that I know more about it.
You just had a picture on Facebook, I believe, recently where your first, and it had a picture of you with Lee.
That's him.
Your first. Yeah.
That car right there. That was my first one.
Yeah.
First one I've ever seen in real life.
Yep. And you've been addicted ever since.
I have.
Yeah. Anything we need to cover on this before we?
I don't think so. I think you got it covered. It's really a nice car. It's a great for the money. You can't beat it. I mean, if you walked in the garage and somebody looked at this car and looked at this car, not a huge difference.
Yeah.
But this thing is 3 times, 4 times the money compared to this one.
Yes, and that red, this red is so much
it
brighter.
Pops.
Yeah.
I mean, it's bright, and that's one benefit you get with the wrap. You know, if you look at wraps, Porsches, Lamborghinis, all the foreign exotic cars, everybody wraps them because they have nice paint, and they throw a wrap on it, drive it around, it protects the paint.
Yeah.
But it just seems like the classic car world doesn't do a lot of wraps. And I mean, a wrap 10 feet away looks just like paint. 5 feet away, you can look at it and kind of see things that, you know, where you don't see as paint. That's where you get hurt a little bit. So if you're looking for an economical way to drive a car and change the color, wrap it.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, it's not something you could do by yourself on your own. It's amazing how these guys take a decal and throw it on the car and they can get all the creases out of it.
Yeah, moving around like it's
I don't know how
nothing.
they do it. I've tried it, and I can't even hardly do a console that's flat. Let's not do a rounded stuff. I don't know. It's an art.
Yeah,
I can tell you that. But other than that, this one here,
and while I'm here, I do want to ask. So you have dual antennas here.
Yep.
Factory would have been on the fender.
I think this was I'm not an expert on the original stuff, but I think this was a dealer option or a factory option to add dual antennas.
Okay.
So dual antennas are not on Christine. It's something that I think the Plymouth people liked. I like dual antennas. This is the Christine look. So in the movie Christine, that's the antenna they have.
Okay.
But looking at both cars, now that I've had both with both, I almost like both. And I think if you were going to build a original looking Christine and wanted to stick to the theme, this matches the Christine theme.
Yeah.
These are the Christine mirrors. These are the original mirrors.
Yeah, I noticed that, and I thought I would ask about that when we got to the green one. Yeah.
Yeah, these are cheap plastic mirrors.
Okay.
That's in the movie Christine. If you go look at any of the movie cars, they got these mirrors. I think they were steel bases back in the day. You could find them if you look around, but they look exactly like the plastic ones that you can buy today. But that's the only thing on the car that's not expensive is the mirrors. These mirrors. These mirrors are about $250 a piece.
Wow.
You know, online or eBay, but you know, you can find those all over the place because, you know, not many people are using them. Everybody wants the Christine style mirrors.
Yeah. And I'll just wrap this one up and showing this reminds me of like a General Motors, the Impalas in the late
Maybe that's
50s.
why I like them, because I'm a GM guy.
Yeah, I know you are, yeah. Well, Barclay, thank you so much for sharing this one as well and telling us the story behind it.
My pleasure.